It's that time. Monday evening, it's weather for Weather Geeks time. This is the Valley's most in-depth, geeky weather forecast video, of course. And here on Weather for Weather Geeks on this Monday evening, we're talking about some real autumnal chill. Wow, how things have changed. We had very high humidity levels and some gusty storms at the start of the weekend, but then the dew points started to drop as low pressure scooted to our east, started dragging in the cooler, drier air. And also, that cyclonic flow did what it does a lot of times in the winter around here. We had a deck of stratocumulus clouds overhead today. As a result, it was a very cool August day. Was it the coolest August 19th on record? No, not quite. Our afternoon temperatures today were in the mid-60s. Back on August 19th, 2007, the high was just 59 degrees. That is the record low maximum for today's date, officially at the Youngstown Warren Airport. The official numbers today, it's one of those deceiving days because the highest temperature occurred early in the morning, just after midnight, and then the lowest temperature occurred in the afternoon. As we get into the cooler weather season coming up this fall and into the winter, we have days like this with a fair amount of frequency, but yeah, today's numbers definitely a little bit backwards and not a big diurnal range. You know, when you have that deck of stratocumulus clouds in northeast Ohio and western PA on the backside of low pressure, we see days like this all the time in the winter season, and usually we see some persistent snow flurries out of those kinds of clouds, but of course it's August, so we're not going to see snow flurries, but we did have some mist and some drizzle at times today. It was just enough to flip on your wipers a couple of times, and that was about it. Just kind of a gloom fest today. Now, some people were pretty happy about this, some people not so much, not ready for, you know, an October preview just yet, but the thick deck of stratocumulus clouds has started to break apart a little bit over the last couple of hours, and the big full moon that'll be up there tonight, we're going to be having some cloud issues throughout the night, but at times the sky can clear enough that the full moon will be up there. It is the first of 4 consecutive supermoons. Just a reminder, a supermoon is just a moon that appears to be a little bit bigger and a little bit brighter to the naked eye than a regular full moon. It's because the full moon's occurring when we're at our closest point to the moon and the moon's orbit around the Earth. So the moon appears in the sky to just be a little bit bigger and brighter, and the next 4, including this one, full moons will be of the supermoon variety. Did you see some of the footage from Long Island and parts of Connecticut from last night? Some of these rainfall totals were just amazing last night. I mean, some places in Long Island, northern parts of Long Island, had 9, 10, 11 inches worth of rain in a short amount of time last night. And of course, this caused some big time flooding issues on the island and up towards parts of Connecticut and even back into New Jersey. This was a big problem across parts of the New York City metro area and out into the western suburbs of New York, into New Jersey as well. And of course, the east coast of the U.S. has been indirectly affected by Hurricane Ernesto in the last several days. Now, this is way up in the northern Atlantic now, and we're just about done talking about this. It's still technically a hurricane, Category 1, just south of Nova Scotia, or east of Nova Scotia, I should say, and south of Newfoundland. And Ernesto has brought some rip current concerns and high tide concerns to the beaches of the eastern U.S. over the last few days. But again, it's just about off the playing field at this point and will become extratropical over the next 24 to 36 hours. And we're going to buzz through Futurecast pretty quickly this evening, and we will do this all week because there's not going to be much to show you. Now, I think we're still kind of in that cyclonic flow tomorrow enough that we will see some clouds in the sky tomorrow, but it's not going to be as dead overcast as a lot of today was. But I'll tell you, it's really going to be a struggle temperature-wise. No better than the mid-60s Tuesday afternoon. Leave the windows open at night over the next few nights. Maybe even close them if you don't like it this cool, because I think some of the cooler nooks first thing Wednesday morning could be around 46 degrees, 47 degrees. But the afternoon will be mostly sunny, and we're looking at bright sunshine then for Thursday and Friday. And speaking of Thursday and Friday, the forecast is ideal for the start of high school football. We have a handful of games Thursday evening and a full slate Friday evening. These are the kickoff temperatures right around 7 p.m. Of course, it'll get cooler as the evening progresses. But at kickoff, upper 60s to around 70 Thursday and about 74 degrees, crystal clear skies Thursday evening and Friday evening as well. And for the kids that are heading off to school for the first time this week, the wet weather gear will not be needed. You might, need to pack the light jacket for the kids for the morning, at the bus stop in the mornings this week, especially tomorrow morning and Wednesday morning. Even Thursday morning will be on the cool side. Friday morning, not quite as much. And the next week will be a lot warmer in the morning hours. But we have a dry forecast for the next 6 to 7 days, all the way through the end of the upcoming weekend. You can see throughout the region, hardly a drop of rain is likely from now through the end of the last full weekend of the month of August. But if you're not a fan of this kind of autumn preview. Hang in there. Here comes the heat. We're going to go from a high of 66 tomorrow to pushing 90 by early next week. Now, we haven't had a 90-degree day officially at the Youngstown Warren Airport in over a month. We've been stuck at 6 90-degree days for the summer season for about 5 or 6 weeks at this point. But we may flirt with 90 a few times late this weekend and especially early on next week. Now, of course, beyond this 10-day forecast, we're talking more and more about the Canfield Fair. And at the very end of August, start of September, I do think there'll be a cold front that comes through and cuts into this heat. Now, we're not going to have temperatures probably no better than the mid-60s like we're going to have tomorrow. It's not going to be that cool for the fair, but I don't think we'll have a lot of days around Canfield Fair time with highs in the upper 80s to around 90. It'll actually be probably, we're still a ways out, so we're speculating some, but I do think it'll probably be pretty close to the average on balance for the fair. And average highs at the end of August, early September, 79, 80 degrees, something like that. And I expect probably we'll see a lot of days like that for the fair and Labor Day weekend this year. So coming up this week on Weather for Weather Geeks, since there's not much to talk about in the short range, we'll talk more and more about the long range prospects as we get set to flip the calendar not only from August to September, but from meteorological summer to meteorological fall coming up on September 1st. I'll see you back here on Tuesday.